Welcome to Gab and Jam, episode 186.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about 6 ways to stay motivated to do all the things for the DIY rockstar.
Yes, indeedy. So, motivation, that's a big part of that thing, because, you know, you're going to have a lot of dry days.
Yes.
And what do I mean by dry days? Days where you're not getting watered.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is like complimented, and, you know, just people giving you great feedback and that kind of stuff. Well, you have a lot of times where you're going to put things out there and you're not going to get very good feedback, or you might not get feedback at all.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're really excited about things and you are so excited to share it, but then you put it out there, and there are a lot of times when you just have to be happy with the idea that you enjoyed creating it and that you shared it, that you had the gumption to share it.
Right.
But there are some things that you can do to try to help, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. How to kind of stay motivated when you're in the middle of the desert and there's no water inside.
Yeah, and with D.I.Y. Rockstar, you're wearing all the hats. So you're writing the songs, you are recording the songs, you're working on the music video, you're mastering it, you're putting the song out, you're trying to figure out how to do pre-saves on Spotify. Still haven't figured that out. But yeah, so you're trying to do all the things. So that's the reason why we're doing this episode, just for people like you.
Okay, all right.
So the first thing you can do to try to stay motivated to do all the things is zero in on your purpose. There is nothing like knowing the final destination that you're trying to get to, because if you know that, then that is what's going to help you jump out of bed no matter what happened the day before. So
yeah, that's true. If you kind of know that, hey, you know, this is what is meant for me to do, and the things that, you know, kind of inspired you to get involved in this in the first place, if you kind of keep remembering that and using that to relight the fire, that's always a good thing to do. And I think sometimes something that I guess we need to kind of concentrate on is that because you're wearing so many different hats as a DIY rockstar, that means that there might be different things that need different types of motivation.
Oh, I like that.
So,
okay.
you know,
all right.
because
What do you mean?
you might not, like, you may have created the project, but now you've lost your motivation for promoting. You've lost your motivation to do the things you really don't like doing. And so I think that's kind of the hard thing. Like, if you don't like a job, the thing that motivates you to keep coming is a paycheck. You know, so that's the thing that keeps you going. Whereas as far as a DIY rockstar, if you don't like doing promotion and you're not getting the results that you want from the promotion, your instinct is always going to be to just stop. And so I think the motivation that you have to keep thinking about is that, hey, I've done this wonderful music, I've done this great project, somebody out there needs to hear it. And unless, you know, I keep doing, you know, these things as far as my promotion and you know, if it's networking, whatever it might be, that you have to keep that as your motivation. Now, you might have a motivation with respect to saying, oh, I'm not writing anything. I'm not coming up with anything new. Any of the stuff that I'm coming up with, it's not inspiring me. You know, I feel like I'm just kind of going back to my same old bag of tricks, right? And you can do a host of things to kind of shake that up, whether it's, you know, learning new stuff, or sometimes what I do is sell gear and get new gear. You know
We're actually in the process of doing a little of that right now.
That's a motivator within itself, because sometimes that will make you rethink the way that you do things. And it's kind of like, that paradigm shift is kind of what you need to kind of spur you on to more creativity. So,
I like that. Yes. All right. So the number 2 thing that you can do to stay motivated to do all the things is, I say it a lot, but document your progress. If there's some kind of way that every time you come across something like we just found on just Googling ourselves that you know we're on playlists that we didn't know about,
right?
Or that even if it's the work that you could do, that you can't control what other people do for you, like put you on playlists, but you can't control you sending it out. So you know, every month, you know, keeping track of how many times I sent things out, how many times I reached out to people. Those are the things that as you start seeing, you'll see the growth over time.
Yeah. Well, I almost compare this to like losing weight. It's sort of like sometimes you can get discouraged if you look at the scale every day.
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes you shouldn't look at the scale every day.
Okay.
You know, that sometimes you, and I'm not saying that you don't look at it, but I'm just saying that sometimes maybe give yourself a couple of days before you actually do that. And that's the same thing with this. It's like, so you've done, you know, this great social media campaign, you know, you're expecting to, you know, maybe see X amount of subscribers on YouTube or X amount of views on YouTube or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so you want to monitor that, but you don't want to get to the point where, wow, you know, my subscribers aren't growing as quickly as I want them to grow.
Or going down. Sometimes we look
sometimes you're right.
Yeah.
You know, it was this and then it's this the next day. So sometimes you have to take a break from that.
Yeah, that's
true. You know, you just have to say, okay, I'm going to do the stuff that I do, but I'm not going to go and check the social media numbers.
Right.
You know, throughout all the time. And that's why I think it does help to do something like YouTube. You know, I mean, not YouTube. Like Google. You know, to Google yourself. To Google yourself.
Yes.
And, you know, and that's kind of what happened with us is that we start seeing that there were links to some of our YouTube videos showing up on other people's pages, web pages, where they were talking about, you know, maybe a product review or something like that, and they were referring people to that particular video.
Yeah.
So we didn't know that. Or I think even a long time ago, you know, we had done a project. It was kind of like a jazz project that we did, bass related. And, you know, I just happened to put in the name Tony Webb. That's the name that we used for that project. And, you know, a video came up that somebody had put on YouTube.
Yeah, that they made
one of the songs.
One of the songs, right.
And it's like, I didn't even know that was out there.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's where you can kind of get that reward. So.
Yeah, but definitely keeping track of that, because that is the thing that on those days when it's a little tougher to get motivated, you kind of have your all-star file that you've created, and that will help you. You'll be able to see things that have happened because of the work that you've done.
Yeah.
All right, the third thing that you can do to make sure that you stay motivated to do all the things is truly focus on what it is you want. And what I'm saying with that is, you knew what you wanted when you started, but then keep asking yourself as you go along that path. You know, keep asking yourself if that's still what you want. And I'm saying that because I know when we started a gazillion years ago, it was the major label deal. And as we have gone on the path, we have found, I know for me personally, I found joy and feeling like now we're building something on our own. So now the goal line has changed.
Yeah.
You know, we still want to have impact and find fans and all that, but to the major label deal is not really what we're looking for.
Right.
We're just looking to get the things that we thought the major label deal would get us.
Right.
So, but we had to actually stop and realize that that's not the focus anymore.
Right.
That really is on the other side of that.
And I think it was that at the time it was thought that the major label deal was the vehicle to get to that point, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think now it's kind of like, okay, there are other ways to get there.
Yes.
That major label deal isn't necessary in order to achieve some of the things that, you know, we would want to achieve.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for you. Is like, you know, if you're going to some place in your hometown, there are probably a variety of different ways that you can get there.
Yeah,
you know, it's like you don't have to just take the same road.
Yeah.
There's probably all kinds of different, you know, paths that you can take to get there. And that's the same way that you kind of have to think about what you're doing, is that you may have had a goal in mind, okay, I need to achieve this in order to ultimately achieve this.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of reassess, you can say, well, no, if I even achieve this, this, and this, that will also get me here.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that we're talking about as far as that whole kind of reassessing along the way, that, you know, you have to allow yourself to make paradigm shifts.
Yeah. And that was a big one for us.
Yeah, it is. It's like, because a lot of times you kind of get tunnel vision in the way that you're looking at things. And sometimes you kind of have to always be willing to draw back and look at the big picture. And kind of say, okay, let me kind of reassess a couple of things.
Yeah.
To see if maybe there are other alternatives to what I'm doing.
And that was really a kickstart to what we're doing now, is realizing that we really could do something on our own. I mean, it has taken 5 years, for us to even get here.
Right.
But we can actually see that doing the work will get us to where we want to be if we keep this momentum up.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was a good one. All right, the number 4 thing that you can do to stay motivated to do all the things as a DIY rock star is be grateful for your loved ones, for the gifts and talents that you have, and then for your life. And I know that's a cliche, but it is a true thankfulness. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
To actually to recenter you, to make you realize that God has given you everything that you need, and that you just need to walk in those gifts.
Yeah, and sometimes too, it's sort of like don't, just because you might be down, don't take it out on everybody. Sometimes, you may be in a valley and with respect to where you want your music career to be. But that doesn't mean that everything has to be in the valley. So meaning that if you got a phone, if you have a house, you have means of eating, you have these other kind of things, don't get yourself so ingrained in what's not going right that you cannot enjoy what is going right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that we're kind of thinking about. So that you don't just get completely engrossed by what you might look at as a failure. And that's the other thing too. Always remember that there's always peaks and valleys. And that failure is a necessary component to success.
Yeah.
That, you're gonna have to fail in order to ultimately succeed. And so I think that sometimes it might be difficult in that moment to kind of say, okay, I need to kind of learn from this and kind of refocus this. But I think the quicker that you get to doing that, the better off you are.
Yeah, and then while you're doing that, like you said, don't get too far in the valley, because you got to love on your loved ones, because they won't be here forever. And
they won't.
While you're figuring it out, they are growing on, and then they may go on even to the other side. So you have to love on them as well. Be grateful for the life that you have, right now.
That's true, because as important as your music career might be, it's not everything.
Yeah.
It's just not. And you cannot get to a point where you feel, oh, it's everything. That's all that no, it's not.
Right.
It is not. And you always have to remember that even with it being this big priority for you, that you have to still kind of keep it, in the right focus. That it's just not completely overshadowing everybody, so that when you're having a hard time with that, you're just horrible to be around and people don't want to be around you and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Don't, kill off your support mechanisms.
I was about to say your parents, your kids, your friends and family. That this is a season, and after a certain season, they may not be there, and you don't want to miss the moment with them. And
you don't want to miss the moment for yourself. Allow yourself to enjoy other things that life has to offer.
I like that. All right, the number 5 way to stay motivated to do all the things for DIY Rockstar is planning. I know we've probably beat that drum quite a few times, but planning is another thing that helps you maintain your focus. Because once you know what you're looking for, you set the plan. Like when you're feeling really great and motivated, you set this plan up, and then just keep following the steps. So just like weight loss. Just like weight loss, where you want to lose however many pounds, it's going to take you, doing the workouts however many times a week, however many steps, however many reps. So even when you're down, if you can say, look, at least I can, whatever it is, whatever that plan was that you created, go back to that plan and work the plan. Work that plan. And even if the day ends up crappy, you'll feel good about the fact that you did what you said you were going to do for yourself.
Right. And I don't know if this quote is right, but Herm Edwards said that a goal without a plan is a wish.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you know, you don't just look into you know, achieving your goal. You have a plan to do that. Otherwise, you're just wishing it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, if you're not taking steps.
Right.
But that's a tough.
But the good thing about the plan is that you can work it whether you're happy or sad.
That's what I'm talking about. That's my daily mantra.
Whether
no
you're
matter
depressed,
how I'm feeling,
whether you're whatever, you can just work the plan.
Yes.
Because that's what it's about. It's about working a plan. It's like you say, it's like going to the gym and working out, whatever else. It's like, okay, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to work out. I'm going to put this time in.
Yeah. And it will pay off. It definitely does. It's the law of karma. It pays off. You reap what you sow, right? All right, and then finally, the sixth tip for motivating yourself as a DIY rock star, constantly motivating yourself, is try to surround yourself with people who are on a similar or, you know, path as you, because that will help. You will see not only role models, but people who sometimes you have an answer to something they're going through, and they have an answer for something you're going through, and by you just connecting in some kind of way, you will be able to share that information between you.
Yeah, and not just people who are, you know, doing things similar as you, but I would also add who are also positive.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, because, you know, negative people can drain you.
Yeah.
You know, and people who are just constantly bringing the negativity, and that kind of goes back to the point we were talking about before, is that sometimes, especially when you're kind of going through those times in which you're down, you have to fake it till you make it. And even if you're not faking it, you just have to not get to a point where you're feeling sorry for yourself, where you can't enjoy other people's successes. That you can't, you know, that you can't enjoy anything going right for other people and the rest of that kind of stuff. You kind of have to lose your sense of narcissism when it comes to that. You know, and then you could, if you can give legitimate positivity to people who are kind of doing the same stuff that you're getting, you'll find yourself in a good position to receive stuff. And you'll find yourself actually getting that opportunity to receive things. So
I like that. So whether it is Facebook groups, in real life networking events, workshops, webinars, whatever it is, just try to surround yourself with people who either on a similar path or who are positive and uplifting. All right, so we know we've only scratched the surface. What do you do to stay motivated to do all the things as a DIY rock star? We'd love to hear about it. Drop it in the comments below. And
Sugar Fit. So I mean, we have been working Sugar Fit. It's still out there. You can, you know, stream it everywhere. You can pick it up from CD Baby. If you want the vinyl, we're doing the thing on Patreon. You can go down to the link there. Also, go over to the Bandcamp page that allows you to get the CD. If you want to get it from us, you can get it from us. However you want to get it. If
you dig the vibe, be sure to
subscribe.
We're wishing you love, peace, and
chicken grease.